Welcome to the dawn of another great day in Newfoundland and Labrador, and especially for our friends in Nunatsiavut, and can't forget our friends in Long Harbour. This is the culmination of a lot of hard work over the past few months, so we're very pleased to be here this morning. We're about to get ready to start, so if I ask everybody take their positions, take their seats. I think we ran out of chairs, but that's a good thing. So without any further ado, we'll get on with the proceedings. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome and recognize former Premier Wells, former Premier Tobin, and former Premier Grimes, members of Parliament, members of Cabinet, and members of the House of Assembly, both current and former, municipal and community leaders, Indigenous leaders, and of course, all distinguished and honourable guests in this room this afternoon. Welcome for an exciting announcement and the best kept secret in Newfoundland and Labrador. My name is Siobhan Coady. I'm the Minister of Natural Resources, and I'm pleased to be joined by Premier Dwight Ball and Eduardo Bartolomeo, Executive Director, Base Metals with Vale, who's traveled here to be with us for today's announcements. Estoy muito feliz en ver você, Senhor Bartolomeo. Estoy ansioso para continuar a nossa relação positiva. Newfoundland and Labrador's mining industry is a significant contributor to the provincial economy. Growth, development, and opportunity are driving success, contributing to long-term, well-paying jobs and providing economic stimulation. 2017 had the highest number ever of mineral exploration approvals issued to prospectors and exploration companies. Mining companies are expanding, exploring, and examining every potential. As the Premier announced in March as part of the Phase 3 of the Way Forward vision, the Department of Natural Resources is partnering with key community stakeholders, Mining NL, and the Newfoundland and Labrador Prospectors Association to develop a responsible, sustainable, and competitive framework for mining growth. We have also begun collaboration with federal, provincial, and territorial jurisdictions on the development of a framework for the Canadian Minerals and Metals Plan, which focuses on unlocking Canada's resource potential. Further, Premier Ball recently joined Premier Colliard and signed a cooperation agreement between both governments to further stimulate the development of the mineral potential and promote the creation of high-quality jobs in the Labrador Trough in both Newfoundland and Labrador and Quebec. Newfoundland and Labrador is one of the prime locations for mining, with proven reserves and attractive geology. By ensuring an attractive environment for exploration and supporting advancement, we are strengthening the industry and growing private sector jobs and the economy throughout Newfoundland and Labrador. We welcome the world for responsible development. The Way Forward outlines our government's plan to foster economic activity and support job creation in Newfoundland and Labrador. To demonstrate this, I would now like to invite Premier Ball to bring us the details of today's announcement.
Well, thank you, Siobhan, and good morning, everyone. And it is great to be here. And first of all, I want to acknowledge Siobhan Coady, Minister Coady, and the great work that she has done with her staff in taking us to this announcement today. We lean pretty heavily on people like Siobhan Coady and the support staff that she has around her. So I really want to acknowledge the great work that she has done with the staff at her department. And as well as everyone else here this morning, I want to thank you for taking this time out of what is busy schedules, I know, but really joining with us to celebrate what will be a momentous announcement for our province. I'd also like to extend a very warm welcome to our Indigenous leaders here with me in the room this morning, as well as representatives from other governments and industry, business, and community organizations in our province. But I also want to recognize several of our province's former premiers. Former Premier Wells, former Premier Tobin, and former Premier Grimes, who is with us here today. One former Premier that's absent today sends his regrets. He is out of the province, and of course I'm talking about former Premier Tuck. And I would encourage everyone, in case you haven't seen his new book, I've got to put in a plug for Beaton's new book, A Man of My Word. And I'd encourage you to pick it up because it really gives us some insight of the colorful personality of Beaton over his years in public life. I've read it, I've enjoyed it, and I encourage you to pick it up. And it gives us a little bit and shares a little bit about Beaton's personal life. It's an enjoyable read. Now, I guess you'd all know that any time you get four premiers coming together in one room, it will be a good announcement. So I want to welcome our premiers for joining us today. I will say personally, your support is appreciated. Finally, I'd like to recognize two people that are not here with us today, and that being Chris Verbisky and Al Chislett. Al, as you know, passed away a few weeks ago, and Chris is not able to be with us today. And these are the individuals who discovered Voisey's Bay. I can imagine over the years the number of hours that they would have spent reflecting with their families on what that day must have felt like as they touched down, and probably not even knowing at the time what really they were standing on. But to Al and Chris, we want to thank them very much. Now, today's announcement is really a culmination of a tremendous amount of hard work. As Siobhan had mentioned, Eduardo and his team at Vale, as well as our government officials, I want to thank you for the work that you have done over the last weeks and months leading into today's announcement. So thank you. For me as Premier of Newfoundland and Labrador and my team of ministers and MHAs, many of them are here in this room today, it is a very special day for our government. And it is a day that I reflect on with great pride. This announcement will invite significant benefits to our province. New jobs, new business, opportunities will be created for the future of our province. But what it does, it complements the new jobs that have already been created with the White Rose Project, with Canada Fluorspar, with the IOC Walbush 3 expansion, as well as significant major health infrastructure investments that we've made in Corner Brook, in Gander, in Grand Falls, Windsor, and Botwood, as well as here in St. John's, meeting the needs of Newfoundlanders and Labradorians. As we know that Newfoundland and Labrador, like any other jurisdiction, operates in a very global competitive environment. And since we stepped into office, this government has been actively marketing our province, Newfoundland and Labrador, as a province that is open for business. I believe that decisions of some of the global heavyweights that we have in the world, like IOC, like Husky, and like Valey today, to expand their footprint in our province, demonstrates to the people of our province and to the world that our way forward is working. Newfoundland and Labrador is an attractive place for business investment. Companies recognize the tremendous riches that lay beneath our ground and off our shores. They also recognize our world-class post-secondary education institutions, our skilled workforce, our well-established supply chain of businesses. In the development of our natural resources and our provincial economy, June 11th carries great importance. It was 16 years ago to this very day June 11th in 2002, that then Premier Roger Grimes joined officials with INCO and Indigenous leaders to develop the Voisey Bay mineral deposit and establish a processing facility in Long Harbour. That special moment occurred at this very hotel. And I see MHAs who were part of that day and officials that were part of that day as well. So it is great to have Roger and many of his government at the time with us today. But I'd also like to acknowledge people like Peter Panashaway and William Barber and many others who participated in the original announcement. I'd also like to recognize the former work of our former Premier Wells and Tobin and Beaton Tuck that led up to making that announcement in June 11, 2002 possible. Now, I am sure that they are all feeling a little nostalgic and perhaps wondering where the last 16 years have gone. Now, in the years since, there has been 35,000 person-years of employment worked on the project and approximately $15 billion in nickel, cobalt, and copper that have been recovered. So I think of Al Chislett and Chris Verbisky. They would be very proud of the discovery that has helped create such benefits to the people of Newfoundland and Labrador. As you know, there's been many swings in commodity prices that have impacted the mining industry globally. But it is an industry that is a major contributor to our provincial economy. Its importance is often understated. But to provide some context in what I'm talking about, if you take White Rose and Terra Nova, these are major job creators to our province. But over the last 5 years, we see employment numbers at Voisey Bay and Long Harbour surpass those two projects. And over the last 3 years, it's Valey and Long Harbour that has had more of an influence on the GDP in our province than in many of those producing fields. So it is then that you begin to recognize how important the mining industry is to the families and communities in our province. This success has been achieved with strong provincial and private partnerships. And it is the private partners that have made this significant capital investment in this project. This highlights the benefit of working collaboratively with companies like Vale. Now, with a broader industry perspective, we have 6,000 people working in the mining industry. Last year, we saw mineral shipments of some $3.4 billion. Furthermore, in 2016, we've seen an increase in 2017 from nearly 25% in that 1 year. Now, as everyone knows, exploration is key to economic development and key to continued development. Exploration expenditures improved to $37 million in 2017, and that is up from $25 million in 2016. So you know where I'm taking this. This is a province that's open for business, and people are showing up. This collective activity has earned Newfoundland and Labrador's mining industry a position on the global stage. In fact, it is ranked 11th as the most attractive jurisdiction in the world for investment by the Fraser Institute in their 2017 mining review. This momentum is strengthened by today's announcement. So as Premier, I'm standing here with great pride to announce on behalf of the Government of Newfoundland and Labrador that Vale is proceeding with its underground mine. This will extend the mine's operating life by at least 15 years. Over the 5-year construction period, there will be more than 16,000 person-years of employment, Once the underground mine is operational, including the Long Harbour processing plant, direct employment of more than 1,700 jobs, indirect and induced employment totaling nearly 2,200 person years of employment. Now, the benefits do not end there. Annually, there will be $370 million in labor income, $1 billion annually in economic activity. There will be new opportunities for tradespeople, for engineers, and many other fields. The spin-off opportunities for small businesses, everywhere from gas stations to accommodations. Those that want to grow and expand their businesses, there will be new opportunities. And as I understand it, Valey, they're ready to hit the ground running. Recruitment and contract tendering expected very soon, and construction proceeding this summer with first ore production expected no later than April 2021. So we are pleased with Valey's continued commitment and investment to support future operations, and we look forward to our continued partnership for many years to come. My government will continue to leverage the strengths of our province to build off announcements such as today. We will continue to raise our profile globally, and most importantly, we will always continue to create new opportunities for Newfoundlanders and Labradorians. To achieve our goals, we will continue to work with businesses, continue to seek investments, continue to strike partnerships with other governments and industry to realize the full potential of our mineral resources. Now, as I conclude my remarks this morning, I want to wish Eduardo and his team the best of luck as they go forward, and I look forward to a long, continued partnership well into the future. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a great day. It's a great day for Newfoundland and Labrador, and a great day for Valey. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Premier Ball, for the exciting announcement. As the Premier mentioned, Valey's continued commitment and investment to support future operations is indeed welcome news for us all, for Labrador and indeed the entire province. And if you visit the Valey website, you'll see each of the communities in which the company operates is highlighted with information not just about their operations, but the causes and activities they support. And since opening the open pit mine in 2005, Valey has become part of a community in Voisey's Bay and surrounding areas, and they are truly committed to Newfoundland and Labrador, and we thank you for it. Eduardo Bartolomeo is Valey's Executive Director, Base Metals, and he's been instrumental in making today's announcement a reality. Eduardo, if you would come make a few remarks. Thank you.
Well, good morning. Exciting for both reasons. First, investment as Base Metals Director, and first speech in English. So let's see how it goes. They train me, understand Newfoundland. So thank you, Mr. Coady. Obrigado. Really from the bottom of my heart, and thank you, Premier Ball. I'm so honored to be part of this announcement today. As you have mentioned, this is a historic day. 16 years ago, a group of clever, enterprising leaders stood here in this very building and signed an agreement that would set a new, exciting course for our company and, I believe, for this province. I'd like to acknowledge that the former Premier Roger Grimes was the Premier 16 years ago, as was already mentioned. Is in the room today, as with past Premiers Wells and Tobin. So it's nice to meet you as well. Our operation in Voisey's Bay is a huge source of pride for Valey. Not only because it's one of the best ores in the world for nickel, cobalt, and copper, but it's a tremendously well-run operations in safety record. We just won the prestigious John T. Ryan National Safety Award. Again, I think the third time, right, Peter? For having the lowest recordable injury frequency in any mine in Canada. Our concentrate from Voisey's Bay is now processed on our state-of-the-art processing facility in Long Harbour, which is really state-of-the-art, which boasts a similar impressive safety record as well. and produces one of the world's purest forms of nickel, copper, and cobalt. Voisey's Bay is also an operation that has established productive and respectful relationships with the Innu and the Inuit in the nearby communities, who are not only our neighbors, but also our employees, our service providers, our partners in so many aspects of this operation. I believe that together, we have set new standards for indigenous participation in the industry. As being around in Brazil and New Caledonia, I can assure that it's truly the fact that we have a tremendous good relationship here. It has been said, and that goes back to the point of our meeting today, that going underground was the natural evolution for our operations in Newfoundland and Labrador, and of course I agree. Vale has always had the commitment to this project, but the timing of the project has been in question over the last few years. I think beginning in 13, it's no news for who follows the industry, nickel industry went through a real downturn, fell in several decades, like we haven't ever seen that for a long time. And I like downturns in recent past. This one took much more than ever predicted would be. So everybody in the world, from the nickel miners, went in preservation mode. Vale was no exception. When it came to the Voisey Bay mine expansion, the downturn forced us to take a pause and closely examine all facets of the project. We didn't stop work completely. We had 100 people here in St. John's working the project, so we actually got this time that we had to oversee the project to really de-risk the project, go down, make refinements, improvements that we believe will ensure the project deliver results. As was said, 21 April, and I think Dave is here, is going to be blasting October 18, right? Maybe we'll be there to blast together. Anyhow, at that time, market begins to show signs of improvement. Of course, I think everybody that follows the market, nickel price improved, as copper and cobalt. So that together make us do what we're doing today. And so with great help and a strong partnership from the government, Vale decided it was time to get the ball rolling again, to put the wheels in motion, to resume work required to go underground. We are ready to go, I think, as Premier mentioned, ready to start hiring, ready to begin construction, and ready to fulfill a long-standing commitment to this project. Actually, thank you. We start hiring last week. So yes, this is a historic day indeed. As some of you know, I mentioned I'm fairly new. While my history in Vale goes back to 4, almost the same age of this project. I just began this year, so it's very nice to be here, and I'm really proud to be part of this history future. And I think it's much more than 15 years, by the way. So before I finish my remarks, I would like to extend my sincere thanks for the government of Newfoundland and Labrador for their cooperation and support. Without that, for sure, we wouldn't be able to do that, to what we're doing today. To the Innu and the Inuit governments for their ongoing friendship and partnership, to Vale employees, including the project team here in St. John's, who worked diligently to ensure we are ready for this exciting day. Thank you for being here, and we look forward to create a new story with you together. Thanks a lot.
Well, obrigado, Eduardo. Muito obrigado. It's always a pleasure to be able to announce news of government and industry working in collaboration to create a new and prosperous future for our province. With many substantial opportunities, we look forward to future prospecting, discovery, and resulting growth that are on the horizon for Newfoundland and Labrador. Our government will continue to create the right conditions for success in mining exploration and development, and we're taking action to strengthen the province's economic foundation. We work collaboratively with industry partners to develop provincial and national mining strategies, advance project, and achieve meaningful jobs and opportunities as we have done to ensure the underground mine proceeds. There is no doubt that today is a great day for our province and another important milestone for our mining industry. And just to remind you of what the Premier had said in his remarks, close to $2 billion in capital investment by Vale, 16,000 person-years of employment during the 5-year construction period, peaking at 4,800 in 2020. That's pretty significant, valuable economic stimulation in our province. And I thank Vale for their continued investment in Newfoundland and Labrador. I'd like to thank the Premier for his continued support of the mining industry and our officials within Mines Branch for helping to make today's announcement possible. And I'd like to recognize the professionals at Natural Resources, in Justice, and in Finance who work hard every day for the success of our province. And I'd like to thank you all for joining us today. We have some refreshments. Please stay and mingle and hear all the exciting news that's happening in Newfoundland and Labrador. Thank you for the opportunity to be with you today.